Caleb or Mitch or anybody saying, oh, I'm done. You guys just figure it out because it's too much responsibility.
I never shirked my responsibilities ever in this family. I was there, I was always there, and I gave 110% every time. I felt like I wasn't getting that from the rest of my family. I got 3 ex-wives who are going, Kody changed, Kody changed, Kody changed.
Kody turned 50, and all of a sudden he started making all this noise about,
all right, I guess we all went through menopause together, because there is such thing as menopause, and my testosterone probably just fell to the floor, and I just didn't want to do the hard work anymore.
He was carrying the whole family. It was his soulmate or whatever, and I just think wife who just...
I don't see that, you know what I mean? And here's Kody with all this family, and he's like, oh, I don't know, like, I'm tired of carrying the burden. It's aging me. Like, I don't think you really say that when you have a family, but whatever.
Sister Wives spoilers. Janelle Brown pushes back against Robyn over Coyote Pass sale. Tensions resurface as long-simmering property dispute comes back into focus. Sister Wives preview. Janelle takes on Robyn over Coyote Pass deal. A new preview for the January 18th episode of Sister Wives offers viewers another revealing look at the unresolved tensions surrounding the sale of Coyote Pass, tensions that continue to divide the Brown family years after their plural marriage structure collapsed. In the sneak peek, Janelle Brown firmly denies claims that she attempted to orchestrate a secret or unfair sale of the family's 14-acre Flagstaff, Arizona property. Instead, she redirects blame toward Robyn Brown, alleging that last-minute demands and delays complicated an already fragile deal and nearly cost the family a sale altogether. The exchange highlights not only the breakdown in communication among the former spouses but also the deep mistrust that now defines their post-marriage relationships. Janelle rejects claims of a backdoor deal. During the one-on-one special, Janelle sits down with host Sukanya Krishnan and addresses accusations that she and Kody Brown attempted to sell Coyote Pass without the full consent or involvement of Meri Brown. There was no backdoor deal, Janelle states clearly. There wasn't. There was no backdoor deal. We were talking about ways to get the thing done. Janelle emphasizes that her focus throughout the process was practicality and urgency. With deadlines approaching and the original buyer growing impatient, she says her efforts were centered on finalizing the sale, not undermining any family member. Her remarks appear aimed at correcting what she views as a misleading narrative that painted her as acting behind Meri's back. Robyn accused of delaying the sale. Rather than accepting responsibility for the stalled transaction, Janelle places the blame squarely on Robyn. According to Janelle, the original deal to sell Coyote Pass was disrupted when Robyn allegedly introduced a new demand at the final stage of negotiations. Robyn had thrown this big rock, Janelle says, referencing what she describes as Robyn's request for everyone to sign non-disclosure agreements just before the deal was set to close. Janelle suggests that this move caused the buyer to walk away, allowing the initial agreement to expire. While the buyer eventually returned and completed the purchase, the delay intensified existing frustrations and prolonged a process that Janelle says should have been straightforward. A breakdown in communication with Kody and Meri. Janelle also addresses what she describes as a prolonged lack of communication from both Kody and Meri during critical moments of the sale process. She recalls repeatedly reaching out as deadlines approached, warning that the deal was in danger of falling apart. I would call Kody every once in a while and text Meri once in a while and say like, guys, we have a ticking clock here. This is gonna expire in 60 days, Janelle explains. According to Janelle, the responses she received were vague and non-committal. And they would be like, yeah, we're working on it, she adds. The lack of urgency, combined with delayed decision-making, led Janelle to describe the entire experience as a frustrating, waiting game. Robyn offers a different perspective. Robyn Brown strongly disputes Janelle's version of events. In her own interview, Robyn claims that Janelle's impatience created unnecessary pressure and raised concerns about fairness, particularly where Meri Brown was concerned. Janelle was getting impatient, Robyn says, adding that Kody informed her that discussions were taking place about selling the property without Meri's full involvement. Robyn alleges that Kody told her he and Janelle were talking about a backdoor deal where they sell the property out from under Meri. From Robyn's perspective, her actions were motivated by a desire to protect Meri, whom she describes as being in a very precarious situation. She insists that pushing back against Janelle was necessary to ensure that the sale was equitable and transparent for all parties involved. Coyote Pass, a property that became a symbol of division. Purchased in 2018, Coyote Pass was originally intended to be the foundation for a shared family compound, an ambitious plan meant to reunite the Browns after their move from Las Vegas. Instead, the property became a source of constant conflict. As relationships deteriorated, disagreements over ownership, finances, and decision-making intensified. With Christine, Janelle, and Meri all leaving their relationships with Kody between 2021 and 2022, the property became entangled in emotional and logistical complications. By the time the sale process began in earnest, the family dynamic had already fractured beyond repair. The sale is finalized, but the damage remains. Despite the rocky path, Coyote Pass was eventually sold in early 2025 for $1.5 million. The successful sale brought financial closure, but it did little to repair the damaged relationships among the former spouses. The preview underscores how unresolved resentment continues to surface, even after the property is gone. Kody's frustration comes to light. Kody Brown has previously admitted that the prolonged sale process left him deeply frustrated. In the January 11th episode of One-on-One, he revealed that he considered selling the property simply to end the conflict. "I was getting frustrated enough to just sell the property," Kody said. "And then I'll distribute money at my convenience." That comment has since drawn criticism from viewers, who interpreted it as dismissive and controlling, particularly given the financial stakes for Meri and Janelle. What this preview reveals about the Brown family's future. The January 18th preview makes it clear that while the Browns may no longer share a marriage, they are still deeply entangled in unresolved grievances. Janelle's direct challenge to Robyn signals that old alliances have fully dissolved, replaced by competing narratives and lingering mistrust. Meanwhile, Robyn's insistence that she acted to protect Meri adds another layer of complexity to a situation already marked by conflicting memories and interpretations. What remains consistent across all perspectives is the reality that Coyote Pass, once envisioned as a symbol of unity, ultimately became the final fracture point in the Brown family's shared history. Looking ahead. As Sister Wives continues to explore the aftermath of the family's collapse, moments like this preview serve as reminders that the emotional fallout did not end with the separations. For viewers, the January 18th episode promises deeper insight into how miscommunication, competing priorities, and unresolved resentment turned a shared dream into a lasting source of division. And even with the land sold and the money distributed, it is increasingly clear that closure, emotional or otherwise, remains elusive for the Browns. Sister Wives preview, Janelle takes on Robyn. Reading time, 2 minutes. In a sneak peek at the January 18th episode of Sister Wives, the veteran cast member dismissed the idea that she had a backdoor deal to sell Coyote Pass, the 14-acre Arizona property she, ex-Kody Brown, Robyn Brown, Christine Brown, and Meri Brown purchased in 2018. There was no backdoor deal, Janelle emphasized to host Sukanya Krishnan. There wasn't. There was no backdoor deal. We were talking about ways to get the thing done. Instead, the 56-year-old went after Robyn, claiming she was the one who delayed the original sale by allegedly asking everyone to sign NDAs at the last minute. As Janelle put it, Robyn had thrown this big rock. In the end, although the original buyer returned to purchase the piece of land after the first deal expired, Janelle said it was an overall challenging process, made more so by Kody and Meri, who she says on this special spent a lot of time of just no communication. "I would call Kody every once in a while and text Meri once in a while and say like, guys, we have a ticking clock here. This is gonna expire in 60 days, Janelle recounted. And they would be like, yeah, we're working on it. She labeled it one big and annoying waiting game. As you might expect, though, Robyn has a different take on what transpired. Janelle was getting impatient, she explained, stating that Kody had told her that he and Janelle were talking about a backdoor deal where they sell the property out from under Meri. The 47-year-old said she pushed back on Janelle because she felt Meri was in a very precarious situation and wanted to make sure the sale was fair to everyone involved. Coyote Pass was eventually sold for $1.5 million in early 2025, following a situation made ugly and complex because Kody is no longer in a relationship with Christine, Meri, or Janelle. According to Kody, it was very difficult to finally part ways with the property. "I was getting frustrated enough to just sell the property," the father of 18 said on the January 11th episode of One-on-One. "And then I'll distribute money at my convenience." Tensions explode in a new Sister Wives preview as Janelle Brown directly challenges Robyn Brown over what really happened behind the scenes during the sale of Coyote Pass. In the January 18th episode preview, Janelle firmly denies claims that she was involved in a secret backdoor deal to sell the family's 14-acre Flagstaff property without Meri Brown's consent. Instead, she places the blame on Robyn, alleging that last-minute demands, specifically the push for non-disclosure agreements, caused the original sale to collapse. Janelle describes the process as a frustrating waiting game, claiming that repeated attempts to get Kody and Meri to act were met with vague responses while the clock ticked down on the deal. According to Janelle, the lack of urgency nearly cost the family the sale altogether. Robyn, however, offers a completely different version of events. She accuses Janelle of impatience and claims Kody told her that discussions were taking place to sell the property without Meri's full involvement. Robyn insists she pushed back because she believed Meri was in a vulnerable position and wanted to ensure the sale was fair to everyone. The preview revisits the long-standing conflict over Coyote Pass, a property originally purchased in 2018 with plans to build a family compound. Instead, it became a symbol of the Brown family's collapse as Christine, Janelle, and Meri all ended their relationships with Kody. Coyote Pass was eventually sold in early 2025 for $1.5 million, but as this preview shows, the emotional fallout remains unresolved. With conflicting accounts, lingering resentment, and broken trust, the January 18th episode promises another explosive chapter in the Sister Wives saga. Sister Wives spoilers: Janelle Brown pushes back against Robyn over the Coyote Pass sale introduction, a conflict that refuses to stay buried. Years after the collapse of the Brown family's plural marriage, the sale of Coyote Pass continues to reveal unresolved tensions, competing narratives, and deep fractures that no longer remain hidden beneath polite conversation. A new preview for the January 18th episode of Sister Wives brings those tensions back into sharp focus, as Janelle Brown openly challenges Robyn Brown over what truly happened behind the scenes during the sale of the family's 14-acre Flagstaff, Arizona property. What was once envisioned as a shared dream, a sprawling compound where the Browns could rebuild their family unity after leaving Las Vegas, has instead become the symbol of their ultimate unraveling. The conflicting accounts offered by Janelle and Robyn underscore how dramatically the family dynamic has shifted since the end of their plural marriage structure. This preview does not simply revisit old grievances. It exposes how unresolved resentment, broken trust, and a lack of communication continue to shape relationships long after the legal and emotional separations have taken place. The origin of Coyote Pass, a dream that promised unity. When the Brown family purchased Coyote Pass in 2018, the property represented possibility. Located in Flagstaff, Arizona, the 14-acre parcel was meant to become the foundation for a new beginning. Kody Brown and his 4 wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, imagined a shared family compound where each household would retain autonomy while remaining physically connected. The move from Las Vegas to Flagstaff was framed as a necessary step for the family's long-term growth. Yet even at the time, cracks were beginning to form. Financial strain, emotional distance, and differing priorities quietly undermined the optimism surrounding Coyote Pass. What began as a symbol of unity would, over time, become a focal point of division. A family already fracturing. By the time plans for Coyote Pass stalled, the Brown family was no longer functioning as a cohesive unit. Christine Brown's departure from the marriage in November 2021 marked the first major rupture. Her exit fundamentally altered the family structure and shifted the balance of power among the remaining spouses. 14 months later, both Janelle and Meri announced their separations from Kody, leaving Robyn as his only remaining wife. These departures did not just change personal relationships, they complicated shared assets, financial responsibilities, and decision-making authority. Coyote Pass, once a collective dream, now existed within a fractured family with conflicting interests. The sale process begins under strain. As discussions about selling Coyote Pass gained momentum, the family was already grappling with years of unresolved resentment. Communication had deteriorated. Trust had eroded. What should have been a straightforward real estate transaction became entangled in emotional history and competing priorities. The preview for the January 18th episode reveals how deeply those issues affected the sale process. Janelle Brown, speaking during the one-on-one special with host Sukanya Krishnan, directly addresses claims that she attempted to orchestrate a secret or unfair sale of the property without Meri Brown's involvement. There was no backdoor deal, Janelle states emphatically. There wasn't. There was no backdoor deal. We were talking about ways to get the thing done. Her comments reflect frustration not only with the accusations themselves, but with what she perceives as a distorted narrative surrounding her actions. Janelle's perspective: urgency over delay. From Janelle's point of view, the sale of Coyote Pass was defined by urgency. With deadlines approaching and the original buyer growing impatient, she believed swift action was necessary to prevent the deal from collapsing. Janelle describes her role as pragmatic. She maintains that her efforts were focused on finalizing the sale efficiently and fairly, not excluding or undermining any family member. Her repeated insistence that there was no backdoor deal suggests that she feels unfairly characterized as acting deceptively or aggressively behind the scenes. Robyn's alleged role in delaying the sale. Rather than accepting responsibility for the stalled transaction, Janelle redirects blame toward Robyn Brown. According to Janelle, the original sale was disrupted when Robyn introduced a new demand late in the process. Specifically, Janelle alleges that Robyn requested all parties sign non-disclosure agreements just as the deal was nearing completion. Robyn had thrown this big rock, Janelle says, using language that suggests the request fundamentally altered the trajectory of the negotiations. Janelle believes this move caused the original buyer to walk away, allowing the agreement to expire. Although the buyer eventually returned and completed the purchase, the delay intensified existing frustrations and prolonged an already stressful process. The impact of last-minute changes. In real estate transactions, timing and clarity are critical. Janelle's account frames the NDA request as a disruptive element introduced too late in the process, creating uncertainty and hesitation for the buyer. From her perspective, the delay was unnecessary and avoidable, particularly given the family's need to move forward financially and emotionally. This moment becomes central to the conflict between Janelle and Robyn, as it highlights their fundamentally different approaches to decision-making. Communication breakdown with Kody and Meri. Beyond her frustration with Robyn, Janelle also addresses what she describes as a prolonged lack of communication from both Kody Brown and Meri Brown during critical stages of the sale. She recalls repeatedly reaching out as deadlines loomed. "I would call Kody every once in a while and text Meri once in a while and say like, guys, we have a ticking clock here. This is gonna expire in 60 days, Janelle explains. According to Janelle, her warnings were met with vague reassurances rather than decisive action. And they would be like, yeah, we're working on it, she adds. This lack of urgency contributed to what Janelle characterizes as a frustrating waiting game, one that placed the entire deal at risk. A family no longer operating as one. The breakdown in communication underscores how far the family had drifted from its earlier cooperative structure. Decisions that once required collective agreement now became sources of contention and mistrust. Janelle's repeated attempts to prompt action suggest she felt isolated in her efforts to move the sale forward. The absence of clear communication only deepened her frustration and reinforced the perception that no one was fully aligned. Robyn's counternarrative. Robyn Brown offers a markedly different interpretation of events. In her own interview segments, Robyn disputes Janelle's account and reframes the conflict as a matter of fairness rather than delay. She claims that Janelle's impatience created unnecessary pressure and raised serious concerns about Meri Brown's involvement. Janelle was getting impatient, Robyn explains. Robyn states that Kody informed her that discussions were taking place about selling the property without Meri's full consent. According to Robyn, this possibility alarmed her. She alleges that Kody told her he and Janelle were talking about a backdoor deal where they sell the property out from under Meri. Robyn's justification: protecting Meri. From Robyn's perspective, her actions were motivated by concern for Meri, whom she describes as being in a very precarious situation. Robyn insists that she pushed back against Janelle's approach to ensure the sale process was transparent and equitable for all parties involved. She frames her insistence on safeguards, such as NDAs, as a means of protecting vulnerable family members rather than obstructing progress. This framing positions Robyn not as a roadblock, but as an advocate for fairness within a deeply fractured family structure. Conflicting memories and competing truths. The stark contrast between Janelle's and Robyn's accounts highlights a recurring theme within the Brown family: conflicting memories and competing truths. Each woman believes her version of events is accurate. Yet the absence of trust makes reconciliation nearly impossible. What one sees as urgency, another interprets as recklessness. What one frames as protection, another experiences as obstruction. These differences underscore how personal perspectives, shaped by years of emotional strain, now define the family's narrative. Coyote Pass as a symbol of division. Purchased with hope and optimism, Coyote Pass ultimately became the physical embodiment of the family's breakdown. As relationships deteriorated, disagreements over ownership, finances, and decision-making intensified. The property shifted from a shared dream to a shared burden. With Christine, Janelle, and Meri all leaving their relationships with Kody between 2021 and 2022, the land became entangled in emotional and logistical complications that mirrored the family's internal collapse. The sale is finalized, but the conflict endures. Despite the rocky process, Coyote Pass was eventually sold in early 2025 for $1.5 million. The successful sale brought financial closure, but it did little to repair damaged relationships. The preview makes it clear that unresolved resentment continues to surface even after the property itself is gone. The land may no longer exist as a shared asset, but its emotional weight lingers. Kody Brown's frustration comes to light. Kody Brown has previously acknowledged his own frustration with the prolonged sale process. In the January 11th episode of One-on-One, he admitted that he considered selling the property simply to end the conflict. "I was getting frustrated enough to just sell the property," Kody said. "And then I'll distribute money at my convenience." This remark drew criticism from viewers, many of whom interpreted it as dismissive and controlling, particularly given the financial stakes for Meri and Janelle. Power, control, and lingering resentment. Kody's comment underscores the power imbalance that continues to shape the family's interactions. Even after multiple separations, his role as the central decision-maker remains a source of tension. For Janelle and Meri, the idea that money distribution could occur at his convenience highlights why trust has eroded so deeply. What the preview reveals about the Brown family's future. The January 18th preview makes one thing clear: while the Browns may no longer share a marriage, they remain deeply entangled in unresolved grievances. Janelle's direct challenge to Robyn signals that old alliances have dissolved, replaced by competing narratives and lingering mistrust. Robyn's insistence that she acted to protect Meri adds further complexity to a situation already shaped by conflicting interpretations. What remains consistent across all perspectives is the reality that Coyote Pass, once envisioned as a symbol of unity, ultimately became the final fracture point in the Brown family's shared history. Looking ahead. As Sister Wives continues to explore the aftermath of the family's collapse, moments like this preview serve as reminders that emotional fallout does not end with separation. For viewers, the January 18th episode promises deeper insight into how miscommunication, competing priorities, and unresolved resentment transformed a shared dream into a lasting source of division. Even with the land sold and the money distributed, closure, emotional or otherwise, remains elusive for the Browns.